Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Conversations from the Hearth. Today, we have the very special honor of sitting down with Grandmaster D. Chambers from Northside Karate up in Houston. And we wanted to sit down and talk to him, about the A.O.K and some other things. Grandmaster Chambers, how are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. I'm enjoying the day.
It's great to have you on the podcast. I just met you a couple weekends ago at the Best of the Best championship here in Austin, which was also another A.O.K tournament. And it was really great to meet you. From just that short exchange, I can tell you're a really nice guy, and I'm sure you have some great schools up there in Houston. I hope to come and visit you someday. But can you tell me, a little bit about yourself? I know you've been doing martial arts for a long time. They don't give out those grandmaster titles easily. So, how did you get to where you are now? Where are you going, sir?
Well, I actually just recently got promoted to grandmaster, meaning as in within the last 6 months.
I just got promoted recently to grandmaster too, so we're in the same.
Beautiful. So I've been blessed that we've been working with the students for about, as an instructor, 31 years. As a student, probably 17 years before that. So I've had a great blessing, and being that this is my only occupation, so that means I get to play all day. So I'm most thankful for it. So I'm excited about what I do, because we get a chance to change lives. That's always been important to me, and I love competition. So a lot of times we bring our kids out, and then because I was heavily involved with the competition, then eventually I got with the A.O.K and other organizations, but I then kind of favored the A.O.K for different reasons. And then after that, I got married to them, and it's been a long relationship thereafter.
Yes, sir. Wow. So what style of martial arts did you start out in?
The style is Taekwondo. Now we do other styles, but that's what all our students get certified in. So so the school itself is mainly Taekwondo.
That's awesome. And who was your original instructor?
Grandmaster Fred A. Simon. He just passed a few months ago.
Right here.
And it was kind of, when I mentioned about getting promoted, well, he had made mention that he was going to promote me, and then a couple of weeks later he passed. And then our grandmaster, I was succeeding him, which would be succeeding him on May the 13th. On May the 13th, he would be actually promoted from 9th Dan to 10th Dan at our event, because he's the successor of my instructor. Well, his statement was that the Grandmaster Simon said he was going to promote me, then I was promoted right then. He said, even though he passed, but he said, when the Grandmaster makes the statement, then it is solid. The other part is formality. So then they came and promoted me with the Grandmastership shortly thereafter, which was a weird thing, because it was the way it happened, but it was a blessing because several came to me with that understanding.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's really awesome of them to continue that, that legacy, for you.
Yes. And I might add to it, which his instructor was Junri. So we're under the Junri system.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm very familiar with that. So
yeah.
And so how long have you done Taekwondo? I mean, sounds like
it's been for about 29 years. About 29 years. And we're under the Junri system, and right before I met Master Simon, I was actually taking another style. And then when my instructor moved to Ohio, I was without an instructor. So I was walking around like a grown man crying, saying, I have no instructor. And then I found Grandmaster Simon. He's adopted me ever since. And it's been a great relationship, because I mentioned to you, this is my life. I enjoy it, and it has helped me to help others, and others it helped me. Even my students teach me. So it's been a beautiful thing.
So I'm from Ohio. Who was your first master that moved to Ohio? Just out of curiosity, maybe I know him.
It was Mr. Turner, and he was, and at the time, he had just received his black belt, and I was and he, I want to say yes, he was. I want to say second dan, first dan, second dan. No, recently. I think it was first dan when we started, and then like second dan, no, soon afterwards.
Mm.
And he was a trooper. He was a trooper, and he was helping on the self defense. And I learned a lot of my self defense through there because it was a style called tung su,
Yeah.
and it was neat. It was fun. It was fun.
Very cool.
Yes, sir.
Well, it sounds like you've had like a very interesting kind of upbringing in the martial arts, and
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. It's been most appreciative because it has aided me to do so many different things,
Yeah.
such as the traveling, for us meeting different people, for us. Right now, when we teach, like I mentioned to you earlier, we teach the elementary schools, so that puts us in an array of thousands of kids per week. So
Wow.
that's humbling in a sense of the number of people we can touch.
Yeah.
So,
That's what it's all about, trying to touch as many people as possible and raise them up to be
Yeah,
the best that they can be.
exactly.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the A.O.K. We first kind of stumbled upon the A.O.K. We got to send a couple of flyers to Grandmaster Abel Villarreal.
Yes, yes, yes,
That
yes.
name's always hard for me to pronounce. I'm sorry. No disrespect to him there. He's a great master. We actually had him on the show. And so we went to his tournament a couple years in a row. Then COVID hit, and we've kind of been out of the A.O.K scene a little bit. But we did go to
Okay.
the tournament, the best of the best, recently, and we quite enjoyed it. We thought it was well run and good turnout. So I think we're going to be going back to some more. How did the A.O.K get started?
Well, you met Grandmaster Villarreal.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones that helped initiate the organization. At the time, 40 plus years ago, there was so much chaos in the area of rules.
Mhm.
Tournaments was to say, "Get out there, let's fight."
Yeah.
And they say, "What's the rule?" The rule is whoever still standing wins. And then sometimes you go to another tournament and the rule might be different. You go to a different tournament, might be different. Sometimes you went to a different ring and the rules was different. So and then at one point in time, there was no fighting, not full contact, but close to it. And at that time, the commissioners of the state was about to come in and say, "Hey, this is y'all fighting for money. This seems to be," under the boxing commission said, "This seems to be something we might need to step into." And then at that point, they decided to then formulate a set of rules that would govern tournaments so that it wouldn't be done by the boxing commission. And then they formulated the rules, which was then became the Amateur Organization of Karate, which is then later to be known as the A.O.K. And the beauty of it is that it is the A.O.K is the oldest organization in Texas. And they stand on that because they was the first ones to get the set of rules in Texas that made the karate world a governed by a institution, a one set of rules. And then later on, it grew, different organizations grew from that, but that's how the A.O.K got started. Now, then, then from there, you have people like Abel Villarreal, Grandmaster Linda Dentley, and my instructor Fred Simon. All of them was the forefathers, and they been doing it with the A.O.K since it started. And so that by having that body of producers and having that group of ones saying anytime something needs to change or be adjusted, we meet every year at the end of the year to have a rules meeting or a gathering and say, "Hey, this time we like this. We like these things are going well. This is going great. These things we need to change." And that union has lasted for several decades. And so that's how it got started. And we've been blessed to have that because most people, I tell you, if you're from Texas, you started karate at the A.O.K. Whether you with the A.O.K now or not, they started someone with the A.O.K because it was the foundation.
sir. Sure. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. So what separates the A.O.K from some of these other organizations that are out there, do you think?
The main thing I say is that tenure. as I mentioned earlier, most of them came from the A.O.K. And we used to make a joke. The A.O.K. has outlasted every organization that is the ones who came and gone. At one time in life, there used to be an organization called SOC. One time used to be one called SKI. One time was one called TNT. One time was one called the NBL. We have had many organizations that came and left. And my belief is that because our organization is a group, meaning every producer has a vote, and every vote has the same weight. That makes a big difference. Dictatorship sometimes is good for a while, but I think the big difference is that because ours is not a dictatorship, is every producer has a single vote and they vote has the same weight. That's huge. Along with, because of the forefathers, we've been the original one. Those two things together, I believe, has enabled us to have a distinctive difference, and has enabled us to last.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
And then, not to mention that we look for great people such as yourself to add to the fold.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I'm curious about, sir, the development and expansion of rule sets. And, we were talking to Grandmaster Villarreal about, in the beginning, as you were saying, it's okay, well, last person standing wins. And then as you continue forward, you're having these meetings every year where people are coming together and saying, what's working, what's not working, how can we continue to improve? Something that was maybe not surprising, but that I wanted to know a little more about going to the A.O.K tournament in the beginning was, it's the amateur organization of karate. And so you were saying, you are a Taekwondo school. Our school is rooted, in Taekwondo, but we do practice different self-defense theories as well. What is your opinion on, bringing these things together into a single tournament body? And we went recently and people were doing,
without a doubt, I think that's one of the biggest assets that we have. Meaning we always have been an open tournament.
Yes,
now,
sir.
I do understand and appreciate the different organizations that says we all alike. We all do Olympic style Taekwondo. We all do AAU Taekwondo. We all do American style Taekwondo. We all same school. I appreciate that. But I have a higher appreciation of saying, I don't know what you about to throw, because it looked like a roundhouse, but it's come from an angle I ain't never seen before.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that appreciation and tied with the experience of having that happen over and over, in my opinion, makes you a better martial artist.
Absolutely.
Anytime, if you're saying every time you throw a roundhouse, no matter who I fight to throw a roundhouse, they all look the same.
Yeah.
So I can handle that. I'm accustomed to that. Well, this person, they throw their roundhouse totally different. They chamber is totally different. This one have a chamber at all. This one throwing multiple roundhouse. All those variations makes you more equipped to handle a reality situation.
Absolutely.
So I think I appreciate that as one of our major assets.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's most enticing about the A.O.K to me, honestly, is you got so many different styles coming together: Kajikembo, karate, Taekwondo. I see Kung Fu in there as well. So that's really cool to see so many people from so many different walks of martial arts coming together. And it's a rare thing to see. We tend to be very elitist and in our own little camps and stuff. So I really like seeing that. And like you said, it's always a balance between, creating a sport that's safe, but then creating a sport that's realistic. And when you have all these different martial arts coming together, like you said, you don't know what to expect, and it makes it a little bit less of a sport and a little bit more realistic, because like in real self-defense, you're not going to know what's coming at you, and you're just going to have to adapt and respond.
And I watched a young man. He was throwing roundhouse. It was real powerful roundhouse, right to the midsection, just powerful. But the very next fight, the next person was throwing very light roundhouses, but it was all over the head, just multiple roundhouses. Well, to adjust to that at an instant is what I think martial art is about.
Yeah.
being able to make that adjustment on the fly, as they call it. No, you don't have time. No, let's go through it. Let's go back to the office and sit down and look at it. No, this person's trying to kick you in the mouth right now. So
Yeah.
you need to adjust right now. And that's the beauty of the martial art. That's the beauty of the A.O.K. And also, I believe that helps the longevity because we do say that we're open, meaning what anybody can come, and anybody can get that experience, and that means a lot. That means a lot.
Absolutely. So you are now the president of the A.O.K, sir?
That's what they tell me. That's what they tell me.
Yes, sir.
So where are you planning to take the A.O.K? What is your responsibilities entail as a president, and what are you trying to accomplish with the organization at the helm?
We like uh, making it solid. That's always the case. The large, even though we are one of the larger organizations, but that's not really the key. Even though we talk about getting larger, we always talk about getting larger, but that's a side version of it. That's a side part of it. We want to. I'm gonna tell you what we have done recently, which will then tell you what what we're trying to do. Recently, since after under my tenure, we computerized the organization. Meaning now, over half the tournaments are now ran on a computer. All of them, 100% of them are computerized. So if you go on the the website now, you can see who has what points. You can see what school has which points. You can see how many competed in what division, how many has the the total point of schools, the total one of each person in the school. So that can computerized, that makes a difference. So that was one of the direction we're going and still going that way. Also, we're looking at we just got a better website, so it's more informative. We just received a store, a Northside Karate, excuse me, and we did a Northside Karate store. And I said, wait a minute, we should do this for the A.O.K. So now we have an A.O.K store, and now we're about to do an A.O.K store online. That's good. We're about to have our first, and these are three things that's major. These next three things are major where we're going. We're about to do our first A.O.K seminar in June. So that means the A.O.K producers are they're gonna get together and do seminars for the students, the competitors. So that's the first time we've done that.
That's really
That's gonna be neat. That's gonna be neat. The second thing is that we just on May the 13th, at our event, we're gonna be announcing the A.O.K competition team. So we'll be sponsoring a team to go out to represent the organization. We've never done that before. This is gonna be neat to say these are sponsored individuals with the A.O.K logo going out to represent the team. I called two of them this past week, and they brought just goosebumps to me on my arms because they were so excited to receive the opportunity to represent the organization. And I asked him, I said, "You have any questions, sir?" He said, "I don't have any questions, but I want to promise you I will do my best to represent. I will make sure everybody's proud of me." It brought goosebumps because he was so sincere. So these are the direction we're going to. And the third thing is that we are now offering scholarships now. On May the 13th, be the first time we've actually been putting cash in people's hands in the form of scholarship, and going to the institution, but we will be giving out scholarships now. And so these are some of the directions that we're going in the immediate, forefront. And these are things that we're excited about because we've never done before, as well as there are not that many organizations doing these type things. People they receive money, but now we get to give money back. And we get to choose ones, and then people get excited about being chosen. So those are some of the directions that we're looking at going in the immediate future.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like a lot of amazing things. So doing a good job there, sir.
I'm blessed that we got the executive board, which is several producers who work real close to me. Then you have the body itself, and each, as I mentioned earlier, each one pulls a weight, and that makes an organization roll a little stronger. So I'm blessed. I got a good core.
Yeah. And there's something kind of cool. I mean, this is a little bit of this is a little tangential, but something cool about the A.O.K being a regional organization that's really focused on Texas, because like I'm part of the USAT, and I used to be part of the USTU and a lot of these other Taekwondo organizations, and they're so international. Sometimes if you want to go to a tournament, you got to like go to like Florida or something, you know, and there's only one tournament in the whole state. So I think this is a really cool opportunity to do a lot of close local tournaments, which you can't really get with a lot of other organizations.
Yes,
That
sir.
is true. That is true. Now, right now we're separated from the north and the south, and then and those regions meet at the state finals. And sometimes you have some. Now, I don't advise this, but you have some that only compete in the north or only compete in the south. Now, the fun thing about it is when you get to the state, you know, then you see people for the first time that's been winning all year long, just like you've been winning. And that's also the bad thing. That's
Yeah.
why I said that's why I don't promote it, because you know you see people again that you've never seen before that's been doing just as well as you've been doing. But nevertheless, the one who travel both regions get that experience of saying, wait a minute, I might be ranked top in, you know, the north, but over in the east or the south, you know, I'm kind of getting beat up. I need to find out what, you know, what's going on. So you have that, and that's fun to enjoy. But at the state finals, when it all come together, we also have the banquet. It's a real nice banquet. We had our first ever Hall of Fame last year. And we would have, you know, so now we have our second one this year. That's huge because, you know, you can't pay to get in this Hall of Fame. It's not a money thing. So that we don't ask for any money. It's all on merits. You know, so we're really excited about that. So these are some of the direction that we're going, has it gone and going, and I really am excited about, you know, what they have in front, what they have in the forefront.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. So tell me about the state championship at the end. Who produces that? Is that
The executive board? It's everybody, but the executive board, each one is assigned a certain task. You know, the secretary, if you're the secretary, that means you are then over the banquet and something else, the food. And if you are um, if you're the first vice president, I might have this backwards, but you're the first vice president, you're over the sanctioning committee. So then you sanction all new tournaments coming in. If you're the rules and referee, I mean, if you're the the other vice president, then you're over the rules and referee committee. So each one of them have a committee that they're over. So at the end of the year, all the committees come together and then produce the event. And, that works real strong because once again, by having that unity, that's why it lasts. That's why, you know, that's why I keep growing. And so when I look for now, let me go a little further. When we look for other people to become on board, that's why I want to sit down and talk with you like we were doing. So I get a feel of you, I get a feel of your people, you get a feel of me. And then when you walk in the door, you realize, wait a minute, it sounds like fun, but he want me to do a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
And that's the key. You come in with understanding that it is a lot of work involved, because for me to grow your event, I'm gonna pull from everybody and say everybody can come help you do your event, and that's how we do it. That makes a big difference.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So whenever someone produces a tournament, everyone else who's a producer will come and referee, or how does that all work? How do your referees work?
Pretty much, yes. You know, we we develop relationships, and I will call you, ask you, hey, can I get you to judge? Man, this would be a literal call. Can I get you to judge in ring 3? And you'll tell me, well, yeah, but can I just judge the first half of the tournament? I say great. Or can I just judge the second half? I'll say great. And I'll say, now judge the whole tournament. And then you go out there and you say, oh, okay, then you're a judge, and then you say, well, I'm in ring number 3. But you have that information in advance, and then I now know where you're going to be. And then I also know, you may say, well, I have 1 or 2 black belts that's coming as well. So they can help, you know, they can help as well. So then, but I know all this in advance. And when you come in, you receive like a booklet that tells you this information. And it tells you, hey, these are who you get instructors, referees. We got a person who does the trainer. We give you an actual mentor, and the mentor will actually then do the kind of some of the details and say, hey, this is how you would actually start and actually run with your program. So you get a lot of help. You get a lot of help.
Yes, sir.
Sounds awesome. So I recently friended you on Facebook, and I was noticing that you post a lot of your classes up on there, which is really, really cool. And I was watching some of your sparring, and I saw some sweeps and stuff. You know, your kids were not only just A.O.K rule sparring, but it looked like they were doing maybe going a little off the grid with some of the stuff that was going on. I thought it was cool. What are your in-house rules at your schools versus?
And I shouldn't put this online nowhere, but our rules are do whatever you wish, as long as it's respectful.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that means if I want to, do a takedown, if I want to do an elbow, if I want to jump on and bite you, as long as I'm respectful when I do it.
Little Mike Tyson just fighting you around. As long as it's respectful.
Correct. Because I have one of my students had got injured. I think it hurt his shoulder one day. And then what he did was he actually he couldn't throw a punch. But he asked me, could he test for his first degree black belt? I said, well, the answer is yes, but you need to do some private lesson with me for a month or so, because if you're going to do a black belt test with no arms, you need to know something. And we taught him so many different things. And on his test for the sparring part, if you step toward him, he checked you with his foot on your knee.
Yes, sir.
And then one of my other black belts who's on the panel, he said, well, isn't that a foul? I said, if you did a karate tournament, it would be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But being that we are not, then it's called winning. So ultimately, he passed his test well because, he prevented somebody from punching him by putting his foot on their knee every time they step toward it. Because he was kind of, he was long, and I was saying you got to use your advantages. So these are things we worked on. So that, so the dojo is just what it is. It's a practice area. So we're working on what you have to do in reality. And if I say A.O.K rules, or if I say USKA rules, or if I say TKO rules, that's what we go by. Yeah. If I don't say anything, we're going by dojo rules. And everybody know in the dojo, now I don't normally I don't put that on film though. That was normally.
I found it encouraging because we're more like that. We have very loose rules, and you can punch to the face, kick to the head, you can do it. You can take down, all that kind of stuff. But with the A.O.K, there's a very specific rule set, which is kind of classic karate sparring and stuff. But I was nervous because we're kind of like a mutt, that if we went to this tournament, maybe we'd be perceived as being a little too out there. But now I see you're out there, and I don't feel so bad.
So anytime they look at you funny and say, well, Grandmother Chambers told me I can do it this way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go. Well, it seems like you're gonna have to go. Is that the case, sir?
Well, no, it's just that things are busy. I'm it's always busy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that's them doing their work. I did have a couple of questions though.
Yes, sir.
I want you to share with me on a little about your school in the area of what you have done in the past. I mean, I guess the growing of it. Give me some information on that sense.
So this is my second school. We've been open for about 6 years. My wife and I moved back from Korea, which is where we met. We met in training. She's Korean, I'm American. I went over there to train and work in Taekwondo, and I met her. And long story short, we ended up moving back to the States and starting our school. And our school started out, I would say, as a Taekwondo school with a mixed martial arts program. And now it's basically just a mixed martial arts school. We, start with, not to be too boring, but just give you an idea of what we're working on a daily basis. In our beginner class, we start working on the kicking, punching, knee and elbowing, and then the stand-up sweeps and throws and how to fall, and standing joint locks and manipulations in that beginner class. And then in the intermediate class, we start working on like the jiu-jitsu and the submission wrestling. and the intermediate kicks and punches and things. And then in the advanced class, we bring it together for the full MMA experience where
Okay. Okay.
punch, sweep, throw, go to the all the way to the ground for a submission. So we're really trying to be, but we're different than an MMA school in the sense that two things. One, we have respect and discipline. Everyone wears one of these goofy looking uniforms and puts on their belt and says yes sir and bows and does the push-ups when they mouth off and all that kind of stuff. But on the same token, we want to let our students explore whatever they want to, and we don't want to have this machismo where it's like, well, if it's not effective, we don't want to learn it, because demonstration is awesome, and some of our students want to be in Hollywood and whatnot. So whatever you want to do, whether it's weapons or demo or meditation or you name it, study war theory, that's all fine under our umbrella at our school. We really want to be a place for everyone to study whatever they want. Of course, they need that good grounding and solid self-defense. So we start with the striking and the grappling in the most applicable way possible, and we kind of build them up there. But once they get their black belt, we kind of let them, just explore the martial arts as they see fit. And we try to create the class for them. So we have a lot of different, classes that we offer at our school, whether it's our leadership team, which is, all about learning how to be an instructor, or our demo team, which is about, all those flashy things, or our competition team, which is about going out and competing, our weapons class, things like that. So,
Yes, sir.
as far as me, I started in martial arts, when I was a little kid. I started Taekwondo when I was 5. I started like helping out with classes and stuff as like a little 12-year-old Ken when I was 12. And then when I was 15, I was a paid instructor. And then when I was 18, I started my own program in college, and I basically haven't looked back. I just was building my college program. And then I had an opportunity to go to Korea, and I took it, and I came back and started my school here. And then, around when I was 15, I got into mixed martial arts, and I've trained under so many different instructors, and very blessed to learn, from some really talented people. And I just try to bring it all together and make the best martial arts I can. Now, some of my my friends back in Korea don't agree with that. They want me to just do pure Taekwondo, but I can't stop learning, and I want to make my martial arts the best it can be. So I just keep integrating, and yeah.
So, and you are in Austin, correct?
We are just south of Austin, a little town called Kyle, although it's not so little anymore. It's growing all the time. It's just north of San Antonio, or San Marcos, and it's between San Antonio and Austin.
Have you hosted an event before, a tournament?
I have done in-house tournaments, but I've never actually done an open tournament personally. I've helped out with some in the past, but I've never personally run one. But
have you ever done virtual?
I've never done a virtual tournament either. We do virtual. I was trying to keep my school together at that point. I was not thinking about doing a tournament. But we have been thinking about doing a tournament for a while. We don't know when the right time is. We are way too excited about events usually, and we get all these events on the schedule, and it just gets kind of overwhelming sometime. And one of the things that we've been trying to look at this year is maybe cutting back on a few events, because like every weekend there's something going on at the school.
All right.
But we have been thinking a lot this last 6 months or a year or so about maybe doing a smallish tournament, like an invitational or something, and partnering with the A.O.K would give us a lot of ability to reach a larger community of people. And so when Grandmaster Villarreal came out to us and was like, hey, would you like to produce a tournament, I was interested. I would say that's the first moment I ever thought about producing for the A.O.K though. So I'm still in the early stages. That was only a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, well maybe, but I think we would be looking at maybe next year or something, because we got to get a lot of things in order before we get there. We do have a very good school. We have 135 students or so. We're one of the biggest schools in this area. And I think we could produce a good tournament. I know a lot of our students are excited, for us to do a tournament. They, the parents come up and say, hey, if you ever want to do a tournament, I'll be your front desk, person and sell tickets and whatnot. So there's a lot of interest there. We just need
That's neat. I like that. I like that because I do want to, we could talk more on a later date on the details of it, but I'm just excited to hear about the school and the direction the school is going because I was telling my staff and I was saying, well, I said, have a school coming. So they might bring 2025 from, I say, Austin. They said, well, they said, who is it? They said, well, the first thing I want to know is, can they fight? I said, well, the name of the school is Combat. So I said, I think they can probably hold their own. But it should be fun because in going to the events, if you really, really enjoy it, if you go there, have a good time, go there, rah, 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 rah. I like to be combative. I mean, I like to walk by you and bump into you. Just, and then tell my students, you bumped into me. See, then point at all your students. They see, that's all his students right there. Now, it's about having a good time. You got to have a good time with what you're doing. And if that's your goal, then the kids learn better. I feel they learn much better. And we host Houston International. I'm hoping for it to be a fantastic year, like all the time. We got the super fights going on right after it. We have a good atmosphere for the kids to have a good time. That we hosted in the West Chase Marriott, so it's a nice venue. And then we have a few schools. We actually have, I think, like 2 or 3 schools with 2025 come from San Antonio area, Austin area, which is kind of strange because I have more bringing 2025 from out of town than I do from in town. So, it's kind of neat. And so we decided this year we're going to give out an award for what we bring out the most students. And so, the Mississippi, they said they're going to win it because they said we're going to bring 25. So now we're going to bring, he said 29. I don't know where you got that number from. But,
very specific.
Yeah, he said it. So anyway, so we're gonna give a special award out for the one who brings the most students because we just appreciation. But it'll be an award that they can actually be announced on stage saying, hey, this is a school that supported the most and traveled from where we're coming from. So it's all about promotion, having a good time, making people saying, man, I like that date. I want to come back. That's the key.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like we're talking the same language, and I can tell you're a great guy. You got a nice, easy personality. I could get along with you real well, I think. So we'd be honored to work with you guys and see what we could produce together. I just don't know exactly when that would be. I think, we need a little bit of time, sometime maybe next year at the earliest for us. But we got a lineup we're going to 3 tournaments this year with the A.O.K, and we're hoping to go to the championship at the end up in Houston. So maybe that can be a chance for us to swing by Northside Karate and say hello. And
good. Now, question. I guess I should be asking this later, but if y'all need hotels, make sure you get with me on that as well.
Yes, sir.
For May 13th, because I tell everybody, if you say Northside Karate, not Northside Karate, if you say Houston International, they give out discounts, but we also have ways to give out even additional discounts. So if you have a group that's staying, let me know that as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm sure we could talk all day, but I know you're a busy man, and but we appreciate all the time you've given us, and wishing you the best of luck with your schools up there, with the A.O.K, with you being the president. It sounds like we're in good hands with you there, sir, doing great things. Any final thoughts for Grandmaster before we let him go?
Sir, I'm just excited. Again, thank you for coming on the show this morning, and it was really awesome to meet you out at Best of the Best tournament. We were there in that initial black belt kind of circle up, and I was like, oh man, this is an instructor that I would want to get to know better, and so I'm really excited at this conversation.
Oh, I didn't introduce this guy. So this is my manager. His name's Jesse, Mr. Trader. Actually, he just got his black belt. His first black belt competition was at the best of the best.
Yes.
He got a little knocked around, but you know, that's the
That's
first
good
time
to
I
hear.
was a black
I
belt.
learned.
You either win or you learn. You know, that's what we always say. So he learned.
Yes, sir.
Now, what division he's in?
He black belt division. Is
I
what
was in black belt division, and I did I think I did 18 to 34 sparring, and I did forms as well. So I wanted to just go in, put my head down, and see what happened, and go for it. And whoo, they were fast. That's what I learned.
Love
he just got
Love
his
it.
like 2 weeks before, and I said, you know, it's okay. You can just wear your red belt. You know, a lot of people will do that. And
No, sir.
he's like, no, sir, I'm going with black. And I'm like, all right, good luck. Good luck.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all tremendously. I've been looking forward to talking with you. Anything I can do to help, just call my number.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
Have a good day.